I hope you're all doing well on a lovely sunny Sunday afternoon or morning. This morning we're looking at the topic of remembering. And I don't know about you, but my memory is far from perfect. Yesterday I was in Asda and I forgot 3 things that I was specifically asked to get. And that resulted us having to go back to Asda to get them. So I'm very prone to forgetting things, as I'm sure we all are as human beings. But yeah, so we're looking at the topic of remembering, and I had a little Google search of some facts around memory, and there's some interesting facts that came up. And firstly, that most short-term memories are quickly forgotten. Apparently, the human brain, generally, we store about 7 items for about 20 to 30 seconds, and then after that, they're gone. Scent and smell can be a powerful memory trigger. I'm sure there's certain scents that trigger certain things in your memory. Sleep is also significant to memory. Apparently, good sleep helps retrieval and also the storage of long-term memories. And lastly, as humans, we can reinvent or distort or exaggerate certain memories depending on the situation. And some interesting facts about memory there. But I was just wondering, if you can, in the chat, if you put, what was your favourite childhood memory? Perhaps as a child you went to a certain place, or there was a certain activity. If you pop your comments in the chat, just be interesting to hear them out. Are there any that are particularly striking for you? Yeah, Linda says family holidays in caravan around Wales. Certainly family holidays are always a big one, aren't they? Looking back, going somewhere different. For me, Janet says Christmas. Yeah. For me, whenever my mom cooks a lamb stew, for some reason, that always seems to trigger when I was, I don't know why a lamb stew in particular, but it just seems to happen for me. Kath and Dave said getting the first 2-wheeler bike. Yeah, big moments like that. And John says playing in the woods. Tracy says seeing my mum being daft with her childhood whoopee cushion in a posh tea shop. Mike says holidays in Exmouth with grandparents. Great. So yeah, you can see that there's lots of different memories that we have from our childhoods, and Pete says going to ideal home exhibitions. Yeah, imagine that probably being traumatic more than but yeah. So but while it's clear that we can forget, God is clear that He doesn't forget us. And in Isaiah 49:15-16, it says, "Can a woman forget her nursing child, that she should have no compassion on the son of her womb? Even these may forget, yet I will not forget you. Behold, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands, and your walls are continually before me." When we were thinking about, when I was thinking about the topic of remembering, it occurred to me that Zach's name is actually God Remembers, and I'd completely forgotten about that until Mandy reminded me. Sounds bad, doesn't it? But that's true, isn't it? That that God didn't forget us, did He? When we sinned, when we turned against Him, He didn't leave us abandoned. You know, that when we were far from Him, He made a way for us. But, you know, as humans, we can lose our memories, we can distort them, we can be prone to forgetting what God has done in our lives. And I think when we do that, it can sometimes make us doubt God, and we forget who He is, and we forget all the things that we can forget some of the things that he has done for us. His faithfulness over our lives. And the thing is that we see in the Bible that it's a repeated pattern, and that it's nothing new. This human problem that we have of forgetting God. And you take the Israelites, that when they were in Egypt, they saw God perform many signs and wonders. You think of the parting of the Red Sea. But then when they got into the wilderness, they didn't see any food or water. They quickly forgot the good works and the miracles that God had done for them. And they started moaning and complaining towards him. And they started to doubt his goodness. And, at one point they even desired to return as slaves, back to Egypt. And I think when we read that, it's easy to shake your head in disbelief, and you think, oh, how could you see the Red Sea part and yet still doubt God? How can you forget what he's done for you? But are we any better? And, do we not often do the same thing as you Israelites? Can we be guilty of forgetting the things that God has done for us? And, it's not, I don't say that in a way that to make us feel bad or to make us feel guilty in any way, because, we are human. We do fall short. But over time, I just want to ask you, has our memories faded of God? Offer up that challenge to you this morning. And particularly in my life, I think I've had moments where I know that I've forgotten the amazing thing that God has done for me in my life. And, and I just wonder how God feels about that. Do you know what I mean? Does it break his heart that we can be like that? Or certainly I know I can be. And I think, a consequence of that is that when I forget, or when I am not very thankful, I can doubt where God is taking me and, his goodness in my life. But let's turn to the Bible. Let's see what some of the Psalms have to say about this. If you turn to Psalm 77, verse 11. Let's give you a minute to turn to that. Psalm 77, verse 11. And it says, I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your wonders of old. And David's here saying that he's purposefully contemplating the things that God has done in his life, and that he hasn't forgotten everything that has happened in his life. Similarly, Psalm 143, verse 5. Psalm 143, verse 5, it says, I will remember the days of old. I will meditate on all that you have done, and I will ponder the works of your hand. I'll just read that out again. It says, I remember the days of old. I meditate on all that you have done, and I ponder the works of your hands. So, I think it's good for us to remember the things that God has done, because in bad times, in the bad moments in our lives, that's when we need to strengthen our faith by recalling what God has done for us previously. Looking back helps. It helps remember the times that he's been there for us, and we can say, actually, God, you've done it in the past, you did it in this situation, and you can do it again in this situation that I'm facing. It helps strengthen our faith. And perhaps, if you want to take a moment, well, I'm just going to leave a little bit of space here, just to, perhaps if you just close your eyes. But firstly, perhaps just remember, before you became a Christian, before you started following God, where were you at? What was your life like? Do you remember how God has forgiven you and saved you? That he's brought you into a relationship with him? And do you remember moments in your life where you have known the hand of God? You know, when you look back on your life 20, 30, 40 years ago, there were situations that happened and you know that God was there for you. He provided, he took care of you. In them dark moments, God turned up and answered our prayers. And we're going to sing in a minute. I've asked Tracy to sing Goodness of God to us, and just as a sort of reflective song. But there's a question I want to ask you this morning, and it's that, do you remember when you look back on your life and you've had them moments and you've known that God's hand is on a situation? Do you remember it? And yeah, I'm just going to ask Tracy if you can sing that